In May 1945, the guns in Europe finally fell silent. Nazi Germany lay in ruins, and the Allies celebrated victory. But even amid the victory celebrations, Winston Churchill was uneasy. He looked eastward, at the Red Army occupying half of Europe, and saw not liberation, but the next tyranny. Out of this fear came a plan with a fitting name: Operation Unthinkable. The idea was audacious: strike the Soviet Union before it swallowed the continent whole. To many, this sounded insane. To Churchill, it was common sense. He knew Moscovia, today's Russia, better than most. A state forged under the Mongols, raised on tribute, conquest, and lies. From Ivan the Terrible to Stalin, its rulers mastered the same art: expand outward, crush dissent, rewrite history. Churchill also remembered 1939, the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, a handshake between Stalin and Hitler. Together they dismembered Poland, invaded Finland, annexed the Baltics, and deported millions. For 2 years, Soviet oil and grain fueled the Nazi war machine. The so-called Great Patriotic War began not with heroic resistance, but with complicity in evil. So in 1945, Churchill asked, what if the Allies struck now, before the Soviets could consolidate? What if Allied armies, backed by American industry, and even potentially rearming German units, marched eastward? The planners studied it. They warned of disaster. The Soviets had overwhelming manpower, the West had war fatigue, and atomic bombs were too few to make a difference. The plan was shelved. But imagine for a moment if it had succeeded. The Red Army pushed back, Moscow occupied, Stalin in the dock at Nuremberg beside Goering and Himmler, unconditional surrender imposed, factual textbooks, children taught not imperial glory, but the truth of centuries of crimes. A generation raised in peace instead of conquest. This was the most plausible path by which Moscovia might have become a civilized state. The same formula that turned Germany and Japan into stable democracies: total defeat, unconditional surrender, occupation, and education. Because that reckoning never came, the disease survived. Eastern Europe suffered under Soviet rule. The empire collapsed in 1991, but there was no occupation, no trials, no truth in schools. Instead, the old myths endured, the old networks regrouped, and the old hunger for empire returned. Today's Russia is simply yesterday's Moscovia, still pretending to be a victim, still demanding to be feared. Churchill saw this coming. He was right. Only a complete defeat, followed by a forced break with imperial lies, could have given Moscovia even a chance to join the civilized world. Without it, the cancer metastasized, and we are still living with its consequences.